Hey everyone, today we are making a tower defense simulator tier list for the towers because, well, I got bored. Uh, well, we all know how these work, right? Anyway, let's just get right into it. Hunter, honestly, a pretty half-assed tower. We're gonna put it in C. Actually, maybe D. It's not that bad. It can, with supports, it can go pretty far molten. Executioner, I would say, is an AT tower. It is an event tower, but it is pretty useful, especially for things like duo, hardcore, even though it's not really hard nowadays. Crook Boss would say is a B tower. Pretty good tower, you know. The full placement limit isn't that good, but it's alright. Gold Soldier, I'm gonna put in the same tier as Crook Boss. Might be a little bit weird, but it's a pretty alright tower. From what I can remember, one level 1 can make it to wave 7. But anyway, normal soldier, I would say, is a DT tower. I don't know, I just don't find it useful. 4 towers I haven't used before, I'm just gonna put them straight into F. Because, well, I haven't used them. And you get it. Now, the Electroshocker, who's the Electroshocker? I would say it's actually a pretty good tower, B tower. It can be BT tower. It can be pretty useful, especially in things like events and special modes. But yeah, it's just useful. Minigunner, if you're not that good in the game you're starting out, this is very helpful. Being things like Pizza Party and Fallen mode. The level 3 upgrades quite useful. I'm gonna put this in A. Shotgunner is also a AT tower. Actually, no, I'll put it in B. A, B, B. I'll say A. A is pretty good. Just before you continue, remember this is all my opinion. Anyway, Torrent, another AT tower. Pretty damn good tower. In fact, I might just lower you down to B, because there is a better variant. We'll get to that later. Militant, I'd say, is just like a little worse, a bit of a worse minigun. I'd say just a little bit worse. Demo Man, I'd say, is a DT tower. Not the worst tower, but it's a DT. Sledge, however, is just a better version of Electroshocker, to be honest. It's an ST tower. First ST, wow. Ace Pilot, now, me, maybe a year ago would have said this is maybe a C or B tower. But I've played around with it. It's actually a really good tower, especially for things like early game. And you kind of take the ability to give towers that can't see hidden detection for like 15 seconds at the beginning of the wave, which is definitely underrated. I'd say it's more of an AT tower, to be honest. Scout, I would say, is a DT tower, obvious reasons. Farm, definitely ST, we all know why. You know, it's just a really cheap method of getting a lot of money. Medic, needed for hardcore and the harder modes, but not so much the easier modes. So, for early game, for people who are still in the early parts of the game, not very helpful. But once you get to late game, it's a lot more needed, so I put it in A. Soma, haven't used. Gold Cowboy, when it first came out, I mean, well, not first came out, but first remade, it was an ST tower. Then it got nerfed and nerfed, so I'd say a B. Engineer, at one point, it was an ST tower. And honestly, it still kind of is. Its DPS did get nerfed by like a crap ton, but you gotta remember, the immunity to stun is pretty good, because that means you don't need medic for that. Paintballer, FT. Right. Toxic Gunner, might be surprised. I'd put it in C. It's just a little bit of a better soldier. Well, not a little bit more than a little bit. Maybe like it's a kind of average compared to a soldier. Warden, I'd say, might hate me on this, but it's kind of just Sledger. But maybe a little worse. Is it a little worse? Maybe the same. Military base, I'd say, is a AT tower, good for early defense. Same thing with Pursuit. Oh no, wait, didn't it get a buff? Yeah, it did. I'd say this is more of a... It's in between A and S. Just put in A. Water, BT. Good for Pizza Party Solo and other modes. Alright as DPS, but and early game. Other than that, eh. Alright, let's just do some stuff here. Normal Pyromancer, a CT tower, not very good. Gold, however, I'd say it's an A. Really good for early game. Freezer, Commander, we all know. We all know why Commander's up there. Elf Camp, some people might hate me on this, but hate on me for this, but I'd say it's more of a B. It's useful, but I'd rather just carry something like Gladiator or Gold Scout or almost anything really. DJ, another SD tower. The price reduction in range is bloody amazing, especially with the next tower, the Gladiator. Gladiator is very helpful for the idea of it can do amazing on early game, and with the DJ range buff and the commander, it can get you up to wave 39, no problem. Maybe just like 12 of them, and the price is amazing for it. Sniper, I guess it's kind of just a slightly worse scout. Archer, when this came out as Robux, I wouldn't have bought this if I wasn't one of those people who just like to get every tower. It's kind of a C. It's alright, but it's a C. Excel. Now, before the rework of it, it was actually considered an 80 tower for the first time I've ever seen. Now it gets its own rank, like S plus. Gold Scout is another very good early game tower. It's basically Gladiator. Maybe a slightly worse Gladiator. It's more used for things like special modes and squads and trios, while Glad is used for normal mode. It's like full and molten, and for solo and duo. Gold Mini, I'd say is an 80 tower, kinda like one tier above the normal Mini. It's a good tower, but it's not ST material, because it's more of a early game tower if you get up. Maybe mid game more. Anyway, Gold Crook, it's just a better normal Crook. It's an underrated tower as hell. I mean, the early game and mid game potential is pretty good. Well, sorry, correct me here. Mid game is amazing, and late game is alright. Ranger, I know a lot of people nowadays put on B, A, but honestly, it's kind of an S. Let's just put on A, as well. Normal Cowboy, honestly, kind of the same tier as normal Gold Cowboy, which is kind of sad. Haven't used, and finally, Rocketeer. Kind of a tricky one, that its damage is pretty good, but the dead zone kind of sucks. I guess I'll just put this in B. That's a pretty good tier for it. Alright, that is my tier list. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Comment if you think what any of these are in the wrong space, wrong tier, and other than that, see ya.